I'm Steve Oldfield, and welcome to the Hacking Housing Insecurity Conference. I'm on the faculty of Thomas More University, and I work with Children Inc. and Navigo as the director of the Student Service Film Festival. More on that later. I'm also a film critic. I'm hoping that you had the opportunity to catch one of my top 10 movies of last year, The Public. It was filmed right here at the Cincinnati Public Library, and I got to tell you, when I came here this morning, there was snow falling just like in the movie. We'll be hearing from the cast and crew in a little bit, but first, we want to thank the planning committee. They've been working for months to make this happen. We also want to tell you, last minute jitters for all of us here. This is the first time we've done this, so please be patient. You're not watching MSNBC or another live broadcast. This is a live broadcast from the public library, so we appreciate your patience. We're all going to be learning with this together. We want to thank the awesome people on the committee who've worked for months to make this happen. Our friends at the Kentucky Campus Compact, Northern Kentucky University, Mount St. Joe, UC, Xavier, and especially Terry Vogelsang and her team. Now we're going to begin by meeting the person who opened the doors for us here, just as the library did for the homeless and the public. Here's Library Chief Operating Officer, Brett Bonfield. Thanks again for having us.
Oh, pleasure. And thank you and welcome on behalf of the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, the Eva Jane Romaine Coombe Director Paula Bremheger, and my 850 colleagues at the Public Library. I am thrilled that you're here and grateful for your work. As you may know, the Public Library of Cincinnati and Hamilton County is one of the finest in the country. We have the third highest circulation every year, at this point right behind New York Public and King County Public Library, which is just outside of Seattle. So we're very, very proud of the lifelong learning opportunities that we provide to our 800,000 customers across the city and the county. We are also pleased that we can provide a great connection to the nonprofits in our area and to the great social services that are available throughout the county. We added a a civic engagement coordinator position just over a year ago. And just this coming Monday, we are adding our first full-time social worker to the staff, joining a large group of libraries around the country that are providing social work services directly within the library. So we are very, very pleased that you are doing the work that you're doing. We look forward to continuing this partnership, and we wish you continued success.
So last spring, a lot of Brett's team and myself, we got to go to the premiere of The Public, not far from here. I worked the red carpet because, as I told you earlier, I'm a film critic and I filed a story for the Fox station in Salt Lake City. I also work for a radio station here. They heard what Emilio had to say as well. And you know, what we talked about with The Public and why I think it's such a relevant movie for our discussion today is because what happens here at the Cincinnati Public Library is happening all over the country. The Public's a simple story that could be happening for real in many cities like Salt Lake, or in this case, Cincinnati. On a freezing night, the homeless don't want to leave when the library's closing.
There's not enough shelter for us people on the street.
Who is us?
Now, the main premiere is in New York City, but director Emilio Estevez wanted to have a premiere in Cincinnati as well for the local cast and crew.
Which camera?
Right, this one
okay.
here. But
Hi.
Emilio says that while it's set in Cincinnati, the inspiration came from Los Angeles.
This began about 12 years ago. It began with an article in the LA Times, and it was written by a librarian who was retiring, who basically said, hey, libraries are becoming de facto homeless shelters, and librarians are becoming first responders.
We're a public library, not a shelter for the homeless.
I started to think about, okay, what would it look like if the patrons decided to do an old-fashioned 60s sit-in? How would law enforcement react? How would the media spin it? How would politicians tilt the narrative in their favor?
I am not prepared to be in a standoff with a cop.
But don't worry, it's not at all preachy. In fact, they deliver a lot of funny moments.
Sir, you're gonna have to put your clothes back on.
At times, I laughed so hard I started tearing up.
People can't believe just how much humor there is in the film.
Shame you couldn't get any good actors to be in your film, man.
Yeah, I know, I'm surrounded by an extraordinary cast.
From Christian Slater, Gabrielle Union, and introducing a musician-turned-talented actor, Che Reinfest-Smith.
A lot of times we think the power comes from the top down. The Public shows you that the power is from the bottom up.
Steve Oldfield, Fox 13 News, Utah. All right, so again, Emilio and his cast were great, and the really cool thing about that screening, they invited a lot of the people who'd been in the movie. They weren't extras, they were people experiencing homelessness, and that was what made it such a powerful film. Let's do our roll call now and see all the people that were here. They represent many different campus compacts from Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, even Massachusetts, so we're going to give a shout out to all of them. We have a list. Let's talk about the other schools now. James Madison, Lindsay Wilson, Lorain County, Mount St. Joe, Northern Essex, and Northern Kentucky University. We have Ohio University, Old Dominion, Sinclair Community College, the University of Akron, and University of Cincinnati, University of Findlay, UK, UMass Boston, Xavier, and others. Now what we would ask for you to do is please go on the comments section, tell us how many people are at your school so we can give a shout out that's more thorough later on. We'll be hearing just how many people are joining us from all over the country so they can witness firsthand exciting live television for you over the internet. We used to say back in the old days, we would say hello out there to everybody in TV land. I guess would we say web land now, right? So hello to all of you in web land. Thanks for being a part of all of this for us. Here's a look at our agenda that we have. We want to kind of give you a sense of what we're doing. We're going to be talking about the issue of housing insecurity with both conversations and dialogues. You're going to be hearing from some awesome speakers who put together TED Talk style presentations. We'll also bring them together for a panel discussion, and we'll be asking for your thoughts as well. Remember, you're all on mute, so you're going to be sending those over the chat section. We'll tell you a little bit about that in a little later. We're also going to be doing all of these things from now till 2. Then after that, you're going to be engaging with the people right on your own campus, and we're going to be leading a dialogue with Gail Hillicky. She's going to be helping you to spread that conversation and then share back what you're learning and sharing at all your campuses as well. Before we go any further, we have some housekeeping notes. As you know, this is a live event. It's being recorded. Keep in mind, you need to be on mute so that we can all hear what is happening here, and then you're going to communicate with us through that chat feature, and that's how we'll know what you want to ask. You'll be able to ask questions of the panelists after you hear their awesome TED Talks. Just in case there are other surprises when it comes to technology, we do have a plan B. All of those videos are accessible through your Spark deck and along with the dialogue prompts. So if everything goes to snow for some reason, you can still keep this thing going and we'll rejoin each other as soon as we can. We'd also love for you to take some photos of what you're doing. Send those to us. We're at #HackingHousing2020.